You know the archetype. The business is growing, the clients are happy, and from the outside, the leader appears to have everything under perfect control. But look closer. They are waking up at 3 a.m. with a tight chest, mentally sorting through a disaster that hasn't happened yet. Their patience with their own team is gone. The work that used to energize them now feels like a heavy obligation. When this happens, most driven professionals brush it off. They tell themselves they are simply in a busy season, or they accept the chronic exhaustion as a necessary consequence of high ambition. High performers are trained to push through discomfort. They often treat their endurance as a credential, missing the fact that applying that same intensity without boundaries is the exact mechanism for a structural collapse. So they look for a temporary escape. They book a flight or try to outsleep the problem, assuming a few days away will refill their reserves. It rarely works. 3 days after returning to the office, that persistent bone-level depletion is right back where it was. This is where the self-doubt creeps in. Leaders start thinking they are losing their edge, or maybe something is medically wrong with them, because sleeping 9 hours a night isn't fixing the fatigue. But there is no medical mystery, and they haven't lost their drive. They are trying to use a weekend off to fix a failure in how their business operates. To address this, leadership must treat these physical and psychological symptoms as hard operational warning lights, not personal flaws. This maps stress as data. First, immune suppression, jaw clenching, and massive cortisol spikes. Then, mental fog. Burnout weakens connections between reasoning and emotion centers. Decision stall and cynicism grows. Finally, behavior alters entirely. Leaders withdraw, practicing presenteeism, physically present but mentally disengaged. Left unchecked, these compounding symptoms turn the most capable person into the single biggest bottleneck holding the company back. When the leader becomes the bottleneck for every decision and every fire, it indicates that the volume of work has finally outpaced the systems available to process it. Right now, 56% of corporate leaders report feeling burned out, costing an estimated $125 billion annually in healthcare. On an individual level, disengagement costs $20,000 per executive every year. Money bleeds out through shortfalls, missed opportunities, and turnover. This is the overwhelm engine. Chaos forces constant reactivity. This reactive mode drains the leader's tank, causing deep fatigue. Fatigue leads to inconsistent decision-making, resulting in lost opportunities. This creates guilt. To compensate, the leader pushes harder, generating more chaos and restarting the loop. This is exactly why taking time off fails. A week at the beach resets your nervous system, but the overwhelm engine remains completely intact, waiting to pull you right back in on Monday morning. Sustaining growth at this level requires an operational shift. It is about building a machine that can handle the load without requiring the founder to power it manually. First, systematize how you handle triage. By delegating operational structures, you ensure you are no longer the central hub for every minor firefighting effort. Next, establish a strict operating rhythm. Create a weekly framework that defines your real priorities and blocks out the unstructured noise. Finally, redesign your leadership framework. Replace the reactive to-do list with a strategic system that deliberately protects your capacity for high-level decision-making. These structural changes ensure that your business runs on deliberate design rather than running on your personal depletion. The afterstate looks like this. A company capable of maintaining its momentum, retaining clarity, and driving revenue growth, even when the leader steps away from the desk. Putting these systemic supports in place is not a retreat from high ambition. It allows a company to scale while its competitors are still trapped inside the reactive loops of the overwhelm engine. By resolving the conflict between ambition and capacity, the business becomes a stable asset that grows because of its design, rather than a liability that depends on its leader's exhaustion.